This is Dr. Linda Buck checking in. First of all, I don't feel old enough to have done anything for 50 years, but here I am. 50 years ago, I was a student in my basic nursing program. I actually went to a school that was founded about the same time. It was an Upper Peninsula school, Lake Superior State, actually. So I've been a Laker for a lifetime at two schools. 50 years ago, nursing was a little bit different. In fact, a lot different. The program I went to was quite unique in that we had clinicals spread out over a wide geographic area. One thing that was very unique is that I had some of my med-surg experience at Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. So I actually had to get an international work permit to go over to the Sault Hospital. And going into Canada was, it was special. The biggest thing I think that's changed, honestly, the biggest thing for being a student is the way students are able to research now. Back when I was in school, we did not have electronic anything. We didn't even have electronic typewriters. But nothing was electronic. So when we went to the library to do research, we actually had to do research using the Reader's Guide to Periodical Literature and look up in a catalog the articles that we then pulled from journals and other sources like books and journals. Getting a hold of the periodical guide could be in itself a challenge, as all the nursing students and all the students in the university would be seeking that information at the same time. So securing those resources could be difficult, which also lends itself to when one of our professors might have put a journal article on reserve for us to use. Remember, it's not electronic. So we had to go to the library, put our name on a list. Each student, when they received the journal, could keep it for 1 hour. So you had to read the article, make your notes, your observations, whatever it is you wanted to do in 1 hour, then take it back. So it was much more labor intensive to be a student at that time. Today, I envy the students being able to research in your pajamas from virtually wherever in the world. So that's kind of a convenience that we didn't have 50 years ago. As far as our physical setup, our nursing college was in one of the oldest buildings on the campus. It was very old. It was cold. We used to have to attend class with our jackets on. When the boilers did fire up, it would make such a noise in the radiators that the professors actually had to stop lecturing while the boilers came on, the radiators heated up. It was that noisy. So we all had a little bit of a pause there every time the radiators kicked in. So, that's just kind of a funny remembrance. We were not allowed to wear our uniforms anywhere except in the hospital. So we had to carry our uniforms in like a backpack or whatever to the hospital. And change on site. We could not wear our uniforms anywhere else on campus. Nobody ever saw them unless they met us in the hospital for some reason. Our professors were very strict. We all had to wear white leather shoes. Honestly, this is crazy, but we used to have to wash our shoelaces because they had to be clean also. I do remember taking those shoelaces out, washing them, letting them dry, putting them back in my shoes. Sounds crazy today, but those are the rules we had to live with. The only piercings we could have was one ear piercing, and it had to be one small little post, a little dot of an earring was all you could wear. No rings, no jewelry at all except a watch with a second hand, of course. My friends who were married could wear one plain wedding band, and that was it, one plain wedding band. No diamonds, no jewelry of any other kind. So it was very strict. Some things have changed in nursing too. Some of the procedures we did, for example, a gallbladder removal. Today it's outpatient surgery, no big deal. Back in the day, it was a major, major surgery. A patient would be in the hospital 10 days to 2 weeks. Lots of drains, T-tubes, bile bags. It was a major operation to have your gallbladder out. Other things like total knee were long hospital stays, traction, drains, all kinds of complicated equipment. And those patients stayed for weeks in the hospital. When I first graduated, I was working in intensive care, and we used to take care of fresh acute MIs. And I remember patients could not read a newspaper or a journal or watch TV if they had had a heart attack. unless we had a doctor's order. Patients were in a darkened room, laying flat in bed with no stimuli. Now, how much that did for their recovery, I think it might have made some people actually more anxious, but those were the rules. So, unless we had a doctor's order, no TV, no radio, no magazines, no newspaper, none of that. Limited visitation because we had to put the body at rest so it could heal. Thanks for inviting me to give some recollections on what it was like a whole half century ago when I was a student nurse.
So today I'm here to share with Jill my 60-year nursing journey and a journey it's been. I am of the era when most women got married right out of high school, and I decided that I wanted to be a nurse, which greatly disappointed my mother, who was a teacher. At the recommendation of one of my high school teachers, I went and entered the diploma program at Butterworth Hospital back in 1957, and so it was the age of a lot of rules. My high school sweetheart and I decided that we needed to join together, and you couldn't be married and be in the nursing program. So I went down that path for a while. I had two small children, they were like 4 and 6 or something. I decided that maybe I should really finish my nursing. It would be certainly a guarantee of a job. I had enjoyed nursing. I just so I started to look, and that's when I first discovered that in nursing, at least back in the day, if they didn't teach it to you, you don't know it. So that was kind of the attitude, and that prevailed for a whole lot of years. Eventually, I found Henry Ford Community College, whose director was on the cutting edge of new methods of teaching, and she basically accepted all of my credits and coursework from Grand Rapids JC at the time, and so there I was, finally a nurse. Nursing and patient care were really interesting back there. When I first got to Butterworth, they still had what they called Nightingale wards. That was a great big open room with like 16 beds arranged around the outer edge, and people had a curtain for privacy. People smoked in the patient rooms. The doctors smoked at the nurses' desks when they were doing their paperwork. It's just kind of mind-boggling. It was so different back then. And there were no men in nursing, none whatsoever. We didn't have any in our class. The only men would have been like what they back in the day they called them orderlies. The woman who wasn't going to be a teacher got invited to join. They had a school of practical nursing at that community hospital, and so I joined the faculty, and then that started a whole nother journey. So we wore our uniforms. We had a dress and a pinafore or an apron over the bottom half, and we wore duty shoes and white hose every day to class and to work in the hospital. And so we had like 8-hour days. It was very much like an apprenticeship program. So the state of knowledge was at a completely different place than it is now. People were really biased towards diploma nurses because they felt like that they were the only ones who really knew how to work, and they did because of the type of program that they were in. The tuition was low, and we got room and board, but we also worked a lot in the hospital and helped staff the hospital. And then I got invited to join the group of women who were teaching in the practical nurse program. And so then that started kicking in my educational journey. So finally, I just got desperate and have my bachelor's degree is actually in education. After I got my bachelor's degree in education, I went to Wayne State's College of Nursing, and if you pass the battery of tests, I took a couple of more classes, I could be admitted into the master's program. So that's how I got my master's in nursing, was from Wayne State. OB nursing was always my favorite, and that was what I focused on in my master's program. Then I was really excited because I was invited to go join the faculty at University of Michigan and to teach OB nursing. And so that was a really time of professional growth for me. Eventually, I found out that if I wanted to stay in academic nursing, then I would need a doctorate. So that was one more degree and one more journey. It took me 25 years to get all those degrees. When it was time for me to either finish my doctorate and stay at the University of Michigan, or go out and search for something else, I ended up back in Grand Rapids, where my nursing journey started, and joined the faculty at Grand Valley. I actually was with the team at Grand Valley when we started the first distance learning courses in nursing, and we taught them by using the TV facilities at WGVU, and we had we had a BSN completion program for RNs, and that so we were able to reach out. We had students all around the state, and I think when we finally graduated that first class, we had like 100 students. There was a big bachelor's program at Grand Valley, and they just started the master's program. And by the time it was time for me to leave out of Grand Valley and retire from the faculty, they were in the active phase of putting together their doctoral program, their DNP programs. Those are some highlights from my nursing career.
All right, it's freezing outside. I just got done running some errands. Now for the next part about my day, I'll try and get a little bit of time at the gym. Sometimes I don't because I'm exhausted. So I'm gonna go to the gym, eat dinner, and then I'll make my way for the start day one of, I think, 3 of the next 4 days. We're 3 hours into a 12-hour charge shift. I'm here with my wonderful preceptor, Christina, and it's a popcorn night. I'll check in later and we'll see how we're doing. It's a busy one. All right, we're at the halfway mark, which means it's time for Pick Me Up. Not a sponsor. Well, this is my end of the shift routine. It's time to go to bed and get some sleep and then wake up and do some classwork and start all over again. But thank you for following me in the day of the life of a nursing student. Good night.
Hey everyone, come with me for a few days in my life as a 3rd semester nursing student. This morning we were starting off with my SNA Board of Directors meeting, and then after that we went right into the general meeting. This day we did NCLEX Jeopardy and it was so much fun. And then after that we go to my PEDS theory, and then I end the day with some homework. The next day I had one of my final pediatric clinicals. I'm really sad, I really don't want to give up PEDS. So we park in the Grand Valley garage and then we walk over to the Children's Hospital, And then this is me walking across the Sky Bridge to dialysis with my patient. And then when I get back from that, I meet up with my clinical group for lunch. And then after that, I work on my med calculations. And then finally, we have post-conference in this meeting room. And then we all walk back to our cars at Grand Valley. And I always love ending the day with a group fitness class from Rockwell. Thanks for coming with me.